Hi, everybody. Mike Hose with Stand Up for All Kids, lean health coach. This episode, we're going to be talking a little bit about sugar and the effects that it's having on our health, our kids' health, the environment, all that good stuff. So let me get to the PowerPoint here, and then we'll get started. So like I said, Mike Hose, Stand Up for All Kids. I'm a lean health coach, and we're going to be talking sugar. So let's go ahead and dive into this. So as you can see, the website, Stand Up for All Kids, or better yet, Facebook page. We have a Facebook page where you can hashtag Stand Up for All Kids. Make sure you use the number 4. And you can see we've been working with kids with all kinds of different challenges. So ADHD, allergies, autism, asthma, digestive concerns, learning disabilities, and obesity if you want to lose some weight. So going to talk a little bit about this recent magazine, Time Magazine, talking about sugar. It's got a lot of really good information, just released in 2021. So it's something I would recommend that maybe you go out, purchase, and go ahead and read the entire magazine. I'm just going to go through a few highlights of it. So, this visual I think is really good, just sharing a little bit about the average 4 to 8-year-old. They're consuming around 50 pounds of sugar in a year, just based on where the sugar has been added to the foods, the drinks, all that stuff. So, and it's really, making an impact in our health. So talking about the cost of sugar, right? So we're consuming this sugar, and we're seeing a lot of decreased health in this country. And just there's an article in this magazine talking about it. I want to dive into a little bit more. There's a book that I'm reading right now by Dr. Mark Hyman, The Food Fix. And what he's really talking about is how we can change, the impact of our health, the environment, the world on every bite that we eat. So I haven't read the entire book, but I'm a huge fan of Dr. Hyman. He's at the functional department at the Cleveland Clinic, and been following his concepts for several years now. So this is a good visual, just talking about the added sugars that they put in the drinks. And you can see that, water, no sugar, but then you look at all these drinks, and when we take the actual sugar and show, others or the kids how much sugar they're drinking, I guess they're able to visually see it and make better choices. We just coming off St. Patrick's Day. So a lot of people were probably out there buying that famous Shamrock Shake. And you can see how much sugar is in that. So I help others with better alternatives, with not as much sugar, but it still kind of gives the kids a treat for St. Patrick's Day. So just a little healthier option that I come up with and I share with the kids. This is me. I'm a Dr. Sears lean health coach. Dr. Sears advocates about, reading labels. And this is me doing an Empower Youth retreat. And you can see I've got some ketchup in front of me, and I'll go over a little bit about how we, talked about it with the kids, the different ketchups. And not only that, we did a visual with the sugar in a pop. So the kids took a pop, they poured it down the drain. And then what we did is we added some sugar back into it. And then that way they could visually see how much sugar they were actually drinking. And then we just talked about, maybe some different options that are out there, some safer alternatives, and really just trying to focus on drinking water. So looking at this, there's a lot of different ketchups out there. You can find some organic ketchups, but you look at Europe versus United States, and you can see the ketchup, typically in the United States, it has high fructose corn syrup. And you can see over here, it has more of just natural sugars in it. So we're going to talk a little bit about high fructose corn syrup. They're starting to, some of the studies are linking people that don't drink alcohol, but they're consuming a lot of high fructose corn syrup, and they're being tested and finding a fatty liver. So for that reason, a lot of the companies are taking the high fructose corn syrup out of their products. Or for me, I'm just trying to read labels and just avoid it until they're sure whether or not it's safe or not. Taking a look at this, last episode, I talked about protein. I talked about protein powders. And this is just one that you'll see out there. And I wanted to kind of highlight because I want to look at the label. So when you look at the label on the back, it says sugars, right? Added sugars, 0 grams, 1 gram of sugar. So it looks really good. But as you dig into the bottom, you see sucralose. Okay, so that's an artificial sweetener, has less calories, which a lot of research they thought would maybe cut down on obesity. But now we're starting to find that these artificial sweeteners might be affecting the gut. And I'll share some of that information here in a minute. Also, last month, if you go to the proteins, you'll see why I'm not a big advocate of whey protein or casein or dairy, just because of the testing that I help others with and the kids. And the majority of them show some kind of sensitivity, inflammation to the dairy, the whey, or the casein. So we usually try to avoid that too. So this was an article released back in, I believe, August of 2020. And from the Mayo Clinic, lots of good research about gut health. And one of the articles down here really was just, I highlighted it, and it was talking about a study that they did with the artificial sweeteners like aspartame, saccharin, and sucralose, and how they fed it to some of the mice. And then they found that the mice that was eating the sucralose had a heavier balance of pathogenic bacteria than the mice that was not eating the sucralose. And there's been other studies with aspartame and things like that too. So for that reason, I'm really trying to avoid the products that have the artificial sweeteners. I mentioned Dr. Hyman a little bit, about his book, and this is just something also that he shared, sugar addiction. Sugar is 8 times more addictive than cocaine. Kind of, it activates one spot for pleasure in the brain. Sugar lights up the brain like a pinball machine. So if you see your kids and you give them a big gulp at, one of the gas stations, then typically you might see them a little bit more hyperactive or jumping around. This was a health conference in Tampa, 2018. Dr. David Katz, he was sharing a little bit about the addictive ingredients in junk food. So it's the science of putting certain ingredients in the food that makes them more addictive, which increases sales, right? And we want those foods. Not always the best for health, but helps them with sales. Another article, front cover of another magazine, just talking about the secret sugar in healthy food. So even though you might look and it looks like a healthy food, you got to still check the back and see what kind of, is there added sugars, is it what kind of sweeteners in there? And we'll go over maybe some healthier options that a lot of the health advocates are talking about. A lot of marketing, so you got to watch. I mean, just because this was just from that Time magazine, there's lots of talk about the marketing of the sugar and really trying to promote it to get people to use more of it. Sugar industry, so a deadly game, right? So what this article talked a little bit about is that they're not always, so the sugar industry knows what it's selling, and it hasn't always played straight with the people who are buying. So what does that mean exactly? So let's dig into that. So I don't know if you're familiar with the DARK Act. It's the Deny Americans the Right to Know Act. And talking about GMOs and talking about, different ingredients in the food. Originally, Obama said that he would not sign the DARK Act, but we're going to talk a little bit about, maybe what persuaded him to sign it in 2016. Some of the information shows that these food companies, Pepsi, Monsanto, Coca-Cola, Bayer, they all combined all these, and at the top is the ones that, contributed the most amount of money, $143 million that they lobbied to get the DARK Act signed. To me, I would prefer that they take that $143 million, and instead of denying us, because I think most parents, most people want to know what's in their food, why can't we take that money and put it into finding out better ingredients, research, that for sure we're putting safe products in the foods that we're feeding ourselves and our kids. So there's definitely a tie. You look at Monsanto and these other companies and how they influence the politicians to kind of sign things. They do a lot of their own research. The FDA relies on these companies to do their research. And I think, I'm not real happy with seeing this, because Monsanto is one of the largest companies that's really genetically modified the food and making a lot of changes. And then you see Biden appointing him. And I think it's somewhat, based on money and support and that nature, but I don't want to get into too much politics with it. It's just something that I wasn't excited to see. Another good resource that you can go out to the library, I've watched this myself, multiple times, is Fed Up. And it's got Dr. Mark Hyman's featured in it. It's been a while since I watched it, but it really just talks about, the crisis that we have in this country, and talks a lot about the sugar and the obesity. And it says Congress says pizza is a vegetable. So it's kind of crazy that the FDA counts even ketchup and French fries as a fruit and vegetable. They count it as a serving. So not something I think we would all agree that it should be considered a good healthy serving of fruits and vegetables. Another book, Fat Chance, by Dr. Robert Lustig. I've read this book. I have it. A lot of good information in there. You can see just the cover, beating the odds against sugar, processed food, obesity, and disease. So I do have this book. I do recommend maybe going out and reading it. If you're interested in learning more about, sugar, things of that nature. Some testing. This is one of the tests that I help all the kids through Stand Up For All Kids get. It's an IgG food sensitivity test. So it checks 96 different foods, but it also will look for cane sugar. So this happens to be mine, and I'm just sharing my results, just, highlighting on the sugar part. And of course, coffee bean too, which most people I'm not giving up my coffee. Well, I gave it up over a year ago, and I don't even miss it anymore. I actually feel a lot better. But cane sugar, most people say cane sugar causes inflammation, any kind of sugar. So we really want to watch how much sugar and what kind of sugar that we're putting into our diet. So also, this is from that Time magazine, just talking about, getting our sugar, our fructose, from real fruits, from plants, and it has the fiber. So when it has the fiber, our bodies actually absorb it at a rate compared to drinking a lot of sugar and just a drink with no fiber. And they're linking it to the rise in diabetes too. So I typically drink water. I watch what I drink. I try not to get in too much sugar through any drinks that I drink. Talking about a product that a lot of kids have been taking over the last 25 years is the Juice Plus gummies. And there's a difference between these chewables and the fruit snacks. So you can look at them, and if you just glance at them real quick, these actually look more like berries, right? They have an imprint, where these are just stamped out. So we're going to dig into the difference between these two, and you can look at the labels yourself and look at, how they're completely different. Some, this one has some artificial colors and dyes in it. This one does not. So the sugar content, the added sugars compared to just really getting the natural sweetness from more natural sources. And then looking at this really breaks it down. So Juice Plus has no artificial sweeteners, no artificial colors or dye, no hydrogenated oils, no safety seal, no warning label. And then just talking about other products, you look at a lot of marketing stuff using, cartoons, Flintstones, whatever, putting it on the cover, the boxes, whatever. And you can see there's aspartame, which is one of the ones that they're starting to take out of food. You can see all these artificial colors and dyes. I'm not going to go into depth with these. I'm going to do another separate episode just talking about the artificial dyes and colors and toxins and things of that nature, and how they're linking it to so many things with the kids. So one of the cool things with the Juice Plus product is you can see kids can get it for free. So they have a Healthy Start program. And what they have found, that 71% of the kids, right, that have taken it, millions of kids have gone through this program, 71% were consuming less fast food and soft drinks, which is awesome. 66% were visiting the doctor less. 71% were drinking more water. 61% were eating more fruits and vegetables. 60% missed fewer days of school. 56% were taking fewer over-the-counter and or prescription drugs. So I've been involved and been taking the Juice Plus product myself for 6 years now. And I can honestly say the people that I've worked with, they're noticing a lot of these same things that has been happening over the last 25 years. So you can see the research that's been done on the product over the last 25 years. There's 41 plus published clinical studies, peer-reviewed, gold standard, double-blind, placebo tested. So that's why a lot of the doctors take a serious look at it, and most doctors will be okay with somebody taking it or trying it. But always check with your doctor if you're on any kind of prescriptions, and make sure there'd be no interactions with the Juice Plus product. So some of the research results are reduced inflammation, improved DNA health, improved cardiovascular health, which I can honestly say I have definitely noticed an improvement in my inflammation and improvement in my cardiovascular health. Reduced obesity, definitely have lost weight. I have a healthier, lean type mass to myself. Rescued a better oxidative stress. So like even sports, you working out, exercise, you get oxidative stress. So they've shown an improvement in that. Improved lung health, healthier skin and gums, improved dental health. So there's a lot of videos that you can watch and learn more about this research. Free samples. So definitely, I think it's all about trying it, seeing if your kids will like it. So we're going to share a little bit more about contact info, but there's free samples. Be more than happy to mail them out. You would just have to email myself or partner, and then they can get you the samples. And then that way you'll have a little bit, at least to try it, make sure the kids are going to take it. Talking about the protein powders, and we're going to talk a little bit about this, but last episode, like I said, so with this one that I chose, I like it. It's all plant-based, all non-GMO, NSF certified, to have no pesticides, no herbicides, just like the gummies. But it's stevia is a sweetener made from a plant. So it's not an artificial. There's no artificial sweeteners put into this. So it's all derived from whole foods. Talking about a Shred 10 program. So let's say you do the testing, or let's just say you want to give up sugar and you want to try it for a while. There's a group of people, a huge community of support. And what you're going to do is eliminate dairy, gluten, caffeine, alcohol, processed foods, refined sugars, and then eating after 6. So these are the highlights. And then you'll do a smoothie, do the gummies or the capsules, and you're gonna do it for 10 days and just see how you feel. So a lot of positive results. It's really about what we're feeding our mind. So you can see if we feed it with good food, surround ourselves with positive people, we're going to be happier. If we feed ourselves with crap, and then we surround ourselves with a lot of negativity, watch a lot of like news and just bad news, and you're going to just be in a state of not positivity. So looking at my transformation, caffeine, sugar, dairy, I should update some of this stuff because it was from 2015. So I did my first Shred 10 type challenge back in 2015. I was dealing with high blood pressure. I found out my saliva was acidic, and I was definitely doing dairy, gluten. I was having headaches. I was having chronic pain, fatigue, heart complications, and thyroid complications. So I really didn't want to take prescription meds. So I started to change my lifestyle. And as you can see, I became more alkaline by eating more fruits and vegetables. There's an alkaline diet out there. So it talks about, really reducing your health risks by just becoming more of a plant-based type diet. My blood pressure went from 160 over 100. Now it's perfect, pretty much 120 over 70, if not lower. And you can see what I've done. I avoided dairy, avoided gluten. I've been taking the Juice Plus. I've been eating more fruits and vegetable whole foods. Juice Plus is just kind of there to bridge the gap. So it's not there to replace, but it helps with what we don't eat. And then you can see dealing with like very low pain, if no pain, but I do see the shirt. I was dealing with so much inflammation. I would have never thought about doing CrossFit, but I'm doing right now. I actually today did my 21.2 workout, and I've been 6 straight CrossFit Opens and not one Advil, not one ibuprofen. So something to be said about oxidative stress and inflammation and all the changes I've made in my diet and how it's helped me to avoid a lot of that stuff. So my personal experiences has really kind of, I guess, drove me to want to help other kids to where they can get some of this information sooner than I did. So I started Stand Up For All Kids, and we've been working with kids with all type of different issues, learning disabilities, asthma, ADHD. You can see how many kids are dealing with it. So it's just, I'm very grateful and thankful that I found stuff, and now I'm just passing it on to other kids. So you can see the contact info here. So if you want more information, you can go to the website. If you want some free samples, you can reach out to Tammy Craig here. This is her email. You can reach out. You can check out her website to look at more about the product. And I'm going to dig into this real quick. I'm just going to click on this naturalistichealthoptions.com and then try to get it to open and maybe even just guide you through the website for a minute. So let's say you're interested in what the tests others are doing, and every year I try to help as many kids as I can. In January, get the free testing. So this is the food sensitivity test, where you can pay for it online, get shipped to your house, you do the test, it goes to the lab, then you get your results. You can click on this, it'll blow it up so that you can actually dive in and see a little bit more detail of all the foods. And it basically, if it's green, eat as much as you want. Yellow, caution. Red, avoid it. So you can see it checks for dairy products, it checks for fruits, it checks for all these different things I was talking about, sugars and eggs and different meats, so that you can see if you're having any issues with beef or chicken or something like that. And of course the vegetables and the grains, so gluten, things like that. But that's the test. Then we can scroll down. You scroll down a little bit farther. There's 2 videos here that you can go on and click, and this talks about the Juice Plus product, the research behind it. And then this also talks about the Shred 10. It's a short little video just sharing a little bit about Shred 10. And I usually just get people to try that. They change one meal, they do the Shred 10, they get the kids to do it. And a lot of times the kids just start feeling better. Their mental focus is better. And I think that, let's see if we can just go ahead and play it. That way you guys can, if you want, you can follow along. And I'll get a quick drink of water.
Hi, my name is Dr. Mitra Ray.
And I'm Jen Kelly, and we're here today to talk to you about our new program called Shred 10.
I got my bachelor's degree in engineering from Cornell University and my PhD in biochemistry and cell biology from Stanford Medical School. I'm so excited to be here with Jade, who I've known since she was 7 years old. And today she's not only an incredible athlete, but a health advocate.
I was a 2-sport Division I athlete and went on to become an urban farmer, teaching people how to grow food in areas that have no land. I've been listening to Dr. Mitra Ray speak for the last 22 years, and I'm so excited that we are collaborating on Shred 10.
In my career, I've had the opportunity to work with lots of people one-on-one and run retreats. And from that experience, I've come up with a set of guidelines that make impactful changes in a very short period of time.
So I appropriated these guidelines and created the Shred 10 program. Here's what that looks like. It's 10 days of making your health your main priority. The first thing we do is make sure we get tons of whole food nutrition into our diets. We do that by using 2 of our complete shakes a day and our trio of capsules. Along with that, you're going to drink tons of water, get 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night, and exercise most days. In addition, you're going to eliminate gluten, dairy, alcohol, caffeine, processed foods, artificial and refined sugars, and eating after 6 p.m.
Have you ever tried a program that either didn't work or worked for a short period of time, but you couldn't sustain it? Probably because you didn't have enough support.
Shred 10 offers lots of support. First, the person who invited you to do the shred will be shredding alongside you, which is so awesome. Second, you'll be added to our Facebook group where you'll have a community of people that are shredding alongside you, recipes, as well as encouragement.
During Shred 10, I got the leanest I've ever been at age 37.
I feel amazing and have faster recovery from my CrossFit.
I lost 10 inches overall.
I feel so much better. I have so much clearer thinking.
I lost 5 pounds and I sleep so much.
Better mental focus.
A flatter belly.
More willpower.
Better digestion. Less bloating and more energy.
Glowing skin and fitting into my small.
Let's get one thing straight. Shred 10 is not a 10-day program that you do once and forget about it. It's a jump start. And once you do it, you'll find that it's easier than you think. There's actually a lot of research behind our products and these guidelines. This program will help you sleep better, look better, and have more energy, and maybe even pull out those jeans that you haven't fit in for a while.
So if you're ready to get started, talk to the person who shared this video with you.
All right, so that's the Shred 10 program that I really encourage other people to do. We actually have one starting April. It's always the first Monday of April, and then you only have to go through one weekend, and then you end up on a Wednesday. So let's go back. Let me get out of here. See if I can go back. So here's that contact info again, naturalistic.healthoptions.com, or you can email naturalistic.healthoptions@gmail.com. Somebody will send you a sample of the gummies if you like for the kids. And then if you want to learn more about the Juice Plus product, you can go to www.tcraig.juiceplus.com. You can do a little bit more research on the product. And then you can also reach out to Tammy Craig, this is her email, to get some samples or learn a little bit more about the product and how it's changed her life and her daughter. So they done a episode 2 where you can go back and take a look at that. Tammy Craig and Cecilia Craig did an episode. So the next episode that I think I'll be doing is asthma. It's definitely asthma month. So if you want to stay tuned, the next one will be asthma. And then after that, I think I'll do one about the artificial colorants and dyes, because they're linking some of that to the asthma. So we'll be doing asthma next time. So just want to thank you guys for joining, and reach out if you have any questions, and hopefully we all stay healthy through this time, and God bless.